Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to another edition of Quiz Your Biz, live today. And I'm on the last day of my holiday, so I'm sat on a balcony right now. Hopefully, Robert Terry should be able to maybe get a better reception than me, and I'm hoping he will pick this up pretty quickly from his side. But a few technical issues from our end. I decided that my phone, being waterproof, could probably go do a little bit of scuba diving, and it really couldn't. So we're working between several phones and chargers and other things right now. And it's been a bit of a stressful one getting this on, but hopefully it will all be working and the hotel Wi-Fi kind of holds out till at least the next 20 minutes, but we will see. So I will try and add Robert now if I can, and then I'll just go through the no, he's not on there quite yet, so I will just run through the intro while he hopefully comes online shortly. So hello and welcome to Quiz Your Biz, the bi-weekly show where we interview people to find out about their businesses and experiences. For top tips and inspiration on running their own business and to learn on other topics of interest, have a listen today while I interview Robert Terry from The Humble Entrepreneur and Nationwide Ventilation Limited as well, about their own business. To view any previous episodes, please tune in to the podcast that can be found if you just search Quiz Your Biz on your podcast app, or go to quizyourbiz.com, where you should be able to find all the information, all the videos about all the back issues we've done, and everything else. At the end of this interview, Robert Terry is going to be giving us the top tips on his sales since being in the business for the last 15 years. So looking forward to seeing those. I can see he is online now, so hopefully I'll be able to bring him on and this will actually work. First time, here we go. Now, it still says adding, so hopefully he's got a good enough signal and his camera's the right way and everything else. We did do a quick video check before and it was all looking good, so fingers crossed it will be. While it is adding him, if you do have any questions, Robert Terry, and anything about the Humble Entrepreneur, his own podcast, or Nationwide Ventilation Systems, then please add in the comments below. Any questions, we will come to all of them at the end, so anything at all, let us know. Robert, good to see you.
Hi Dan, you alright?
Yeah, very good. It's all working your end, okay?
Yeah, it seems to be working all fine this end. It looks like you've definitely got a better location than what I have as well, so.
Oh, I don't know about that. Only a little beach in the background and 28 degrees weather.
Yeah, we've got about 19, 20 degrees and a little bit of sun, but that's about it, so. So it's not, definitely better your end in terms of temperature, so lovely.
Yeah, just saying we're heading back today though, so I'm sure that all the rain and the snow will set in the second we land.
Yeah, it will be. Trust me, it'll be a shock to the system when you land.
Yeah. So Robert, I know a lot of the people on the different forums that this is being shared to will already know you. But for anyone that doesn't, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, certainly. I'm Rob Terry. I run a few different businesses, 3 or 4 different businesses actually, but the main business is actually Nationwide Ventilation, and that basically what we do is we design, manufacture and install commercial kitchen ventilation systems right the way across the UK. We've got our own factory that it's all done from, based down in Kent, 11,000 square foot factory with all the machinery and the welding plant and all of that sort of stuff in there. So we got a number of different customers that we deal with, from sort of KFCs, Taco Bells and people like that. So it's really the sort of, I suppose if you look at in your house, you've got a small commercial.
You're frozen from my side. I don't know if that's my Wi-Fi or your side or just the system being the system. Nothing. Oh, you're still frozen. No, you're back.
I had a telephone call come through at the same time there, so it just kind of all just disappeared.
Oh, okay.
So, right.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
we shouldn't have it.
We're all back alive now, hopefully, so that shouldn't happen again. But yeah, yes. So basically, we deal with sort of commercial catering kitchens, the larger side. So in your house, you've got a small, probably a little cooker hood. We do the same thing as that, but on an industrial size scale for sort of pubs, large commercial kitchens, that kind of thing. So the canopies we make here can range anything from sort of over 1 metre long up to 20 metres long. So for food factories and that kind of thing. So kind of the big sort of heavy, dirty, smelly stuff.
That sounds like a bit of a niche kind of business to get into, and I'm sure you didn't maybe think of doing that as a kid. Yeah, actually, we don't, I guess.
Well, no.
When they grow up, they're going to be a ventilation.
No, to be fair, I started in the business just as a contract draftsman, so that's kind of where it all started. I walked out my last job by telling the boss to go poke it where the sun don't shine, and then said, right, I'm going to go off and do a bit of contract drafting, which is what I did, and started in, I think that would have been about 2001, 2002, doing it in the ventilation industry, learning ropes and that kind of thing, and then sort of went on from there. Then eventually I ended up where I was formerly working for. We ended up doing a management buyout, me and who is my business partner now, and no money down management buyout with the former owners, and then we just sort of built it from strength to strength. So I mean, we're fortunate to have an incredibly good customer base at the moment. So we're dealing with the likes of Taco Bell now. Taco Bell in this country are quite small at the moment, but they're planning on opening, I think it's something like 50 to 60 stores over the next sort of 2 to 3 years. So we're currently working on.
That must be a massive contract for you guys.
Well, let's put it this way: the group we're working for, Cascade Catering, who are doing franchisees and all of these, they've just got £30 million worth of funding from the HSBC Bank to open these 50 stores. So from our point of view, it's quite a nice big contract. I mean, we're currently doing about. I think we've got 5 on the go at the moment, 5 Taco Bell stores we're doing at present. So 4 in London and 1 down in Portsmouth. So yeah, it's quite nice work to be in, shall we say? Yeah.
Keeps you busy, right?
Yeah, it keeps us very busy. Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, you said you had some other businesses as well. So as well as the Nationwide Ventilation,
Yep.
I know you've got your podcast and you're doing a few other things as well. What other things are you working on?
The podcast I've just sort of in the last sort of few months started the Humble Entrepreneur podcast, really sort of born out of a need to put myself personally out there a bit more, because I mean I've done the usual sort of thing in terms of, I mean we used to do a lot of work with Mitchells and Butlers, who are a big company that do they own all the harvesters and all by ones. I could stand in front of a board of people, the sort of board at M&B, and present to them and sell to them, that kind of thing, no problem. But in terms of just doing something like this, a sort of a Facebook Live or something like that, it's a little bit out of my comfort zone. So I thought I'd start it nice and easy with Humble Entrepreneur, because there's no camera, there's no other people, no other faces, you're just talking to a microphone. Yeah. So, and there was a bit of umming and ahhing about what to do, how to start it and that kind of thing. And my former business coach who I had at the time, she always said to me, look, you've got to get some of your knowledge, because we've been in business since 2005 now. So she said, you've got to start trying to impart some of your knowledge back into the world. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with it, and sort of I'm trying to get a few people on board. I mean, we've got a couple of people that we're trying to get on board at the moment to get some interviews with. So I've got some feelers out there to get some interviews done with them. Some fairly big people that we're associated with in the catering industry. So yeah, so it's really just a case of, it was started off as trying to get myself out there a bit more, and sort of push myself out of the comfort zone, so to speak. So.
For me, I find it completely the opposite, to be honest. So I find it really hard to talk into one of these things and to come up with the content and have no one else to bounce off. And you can, with the live, at least you can just be there talking to people and have questions asked and things, rather than needing to just produce this content out of nowhere. So I find it like completely the opposite, trying to produce something like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't find it too difficult that way, because there's nobody else, there's no pressure from anybody else there. So, whereas you find that you feed off the energy from the other person. So,
definitely. So, is there other businesses you're running at the moment as well?
Yeah, we also, alongside the actual the main ventilation business, we've got a side business set up that spins off of that, which is maintenance. Because what we do, we manage our own, we manufacture our own odour control units. Now, what these odour control units do is basically stop the smells. So when it discharges to atmosphere, you don't get the cooking smells. Now, once they're done and installed, they obviously need maintaining. So we've now set up our own business, running around, looking after and maintaining that as well. Basically a sort of, just really a maintenance business for going around and serving installed. And then on top of that, I do actually run my own sort of coaching business.
You break up a little bit for me, Robert. I'm hoping everyone else can hear it. It's just my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it could be. I'm down in the boardroom downstairs as well, so it could be a little bit waffy at my end, to be fair. So let's hope everyone else is hearing it okay. Can you still hear me, Dan?
Am I still coming through okay to you?
Yeah, I'm still getting you come through to me. So
Yeah, I mean, it still seems to be going, so we'll see if we can carry on and see if it gets any better.
Yep.
So can you tell us one interesting fact about yourself that not many people know?
Another interesting fact, probably probably about me that people don't know, is I'm actually an amateur boxing coach, fully qualified England amateur boxing coach. Spend 3 nights a week in our local amateur boxing club, which is Strood ABC, kiddies, boxing skills. So, and
Wow.
we've actually had out of our stable, out of our gym, we've actually had 3 national. So on the younger side, on the children's side, and I think we have one on the senior side as well. So yeah, so we do a fair bit of scampering around the country, going to competitions, that kind of thing as well. So, and the level of coaching that we do, we are fully qualified to take up to sort of Olympic standard of boxing. So.
Do you fight much yourself?
Not anymore, but only when I was younger. No. To be fair, I haven't actually. I was never actually a boxer. What it started was my kids joined down there, and I was spending 3 nights a week down there with the kids doing the boxing. So I decided in the end that I'd spending so much time down there. They turned around and said to me, "Well, why don't you come on board with the coaching side of it?" So that's what I did. So I've been doing that. Kids have been going now for about 8 years, and I've been coaching now for 4 years. So.
Oh, great. Good stuff. So with your business, obviously your main one there, the ventilation side,
Yeah.
why would someone use you instead of other competitors in the same line?
Probably because we do the full package and everything's manufactured in the UK. A lot of people in our industry now, actually, what they're doing is they're shipping a lot of the work out of the UK. So they'll get their canopies manufactured in Poland. They'll probably get their ductwork made locally, but they'll get canopies manufactured in Poland. Now that's all well and good because the labour's nice and cheap, that kind of thing. The quality is a bit hit and miss, shall we say? But what we do is we've got a very good standard of quality, so the customers come back to the quality. It's a really, really high quality product. But what it also means is because we manufacture in-house, we can turn around a product or a full system within a very short time period, whereas they could be waiting 6 to 8 weeks to get a canopy delivered. We can have one manufactured in 2 to 3 days. And very much so when we started off early in the business, that was what we was doing, how we was doing it, because we did a lot of work in pubs. Now, pubs, they don't want to shut their kitchens for too long, because all the time that pub's shut, they're losing revenue. And so some of the pubs, one of the pubs we did up in Cheltenham, it was turning over 85 grand a week just in food. So to be shut for 2, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, even longer, is a huge chunk off the bottom line. So that's why we really got in touch with companies like Mitchells and Butlers. Like I say, they used to do harvesters all by ones, things like that. And in one period, I think it was in 2008 or 2009, I can't remember, in a 3-month period, we turned around 65 full pubs for them in that period. So, and obviously they were sort of just get in there, get the system ripped out, new system back in there. So it was quite a quick turnaround. I mean, we had sort of 5 or 6 pubs going out a day over sort of a 90-day period. So they tend to come to us purely because we do what we say on the tin, and like I say, the time scales are a lot shorter with us than other people. So.
Sure, and I guess if something goes wrong, then you can kind of be there pretty quick to fix it when the stuff hits the fan.
Yeah, well, that always happens on a Friday night when you've had a few beers and you've been down the pub. You get a phone call at 11 o'clock on a Friday night, and someone's going, "My fan's just gone down. Can you come and sort it out?" Unfortunately, not tonight. But no, certainly, if anything did go wrong, obviously we can get bits made and get them shipped up to site. So it just makes it a lot smoother installation. We actually do a full installation, whereas some people will manufacture canopies, some people will manufacture ductwork, and then some people won't do electrics and all other bits and pieces, whereas we do the whole shooting match under one umbrella, so to speak. So.
Great. Okay. Next question is what is the next launch or the next thing you're offering right now? I guess maybe that's more on the podcast side. You might want to pop a link to the podcast somewhere.
We'll chuck a link down there. Basically what we're going to be doing probably just after the 10th edition, 10th episode's released, what I'm going to probably do is a little competition just to get some people to listen to the podcast. Once they've listened to it, try and get some reviews for it. So not entirely sure yet quite what format I'm going to go to, but there will be like the first sort of 10 people that give a review. Obviously, it's got to be a good review because we don't want them crackers. But obviously, it's so the first sort of say the first 10 people that do that will get I don't know, an M&S voucher or an Amazon voucher for £10, £20, something like that. So that'll probably be the next one on the Humble Launch, isn't it?
Yeah, have you got any kind of special shows coming up or anything particularly interesting on your podcast side?
I'm trying to get one, and we actually did a company. Everyone knows the company. I'll say it because it probably it's kind of the one that I'm aiming to get is Ben Francis, who runs Gymshark. Now Gymshark is the big global brand. We've just finished their new HQ's just opened up. And we fitted out all the kitchens in there, so it was quite an amusing thing because Ben, we're all there in the site meetings and things, and then Ben turns up on his skateboard. We've all turned up in cars and things, and he's come skating along on his skateboard. So that he's one of the ones that I'm trying to get involved on the podcast, try and get an interview with. But at the moment, he's such a massive brand that it's sort of jumping through a few hoops to try and get to speak to him. So.
Of course, yeah. And Gymshark, if I'm thinking right, they do a line of clothing for the gym, right?
Right? That's entirely right. It's a line of sort of all sort of like the gym clothing, that kind of thing. I mean, I think it's probably one of the fastest growing brands in the UK at present. I think it's currently valued at something like about £100 million or something like that, which is not bad for a 25-year-old who owns it. So.
No, I think that's a pretty successful 25 years, to be honest.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. So can you tell me about a customer journey and how your company helped them get from wherever they were to where they were when you finished them?
Yeah. I'll talk about. There's another customer that we've dealt with. The restaurant's called The Kiln. It's based in Soho up in London, and it's actually the guy who owns it is an ex-M&B manager. So we had contact through him through M&B, and he literally just taken over this empty store right in the middle of Soho and wanted to open it up as a restaurant. Being in Soho, it's really strict guidelines on the noises, the odours and all that kind of thing. And because of he knew that we'd done a lot of work with harvesters and things like that, which is, again, it's noisy, it's odours, it smells, it's cooking and all that kind of thing. He come to us for that sort of expertise and knowledge. So we've done that. We installed a complete, huge, great turnkey system. I mean, I think the value of the project was something like about £60,000-70,000. For the system installed, but it literally had everything in there, and we installed our new odour control systems in there and that kind of thing. So, and it's a huge, great restaurant, and he's had that restaurant open running with no problems. Council 100% satisfied with all the system installed. The point where the smells are actually pumped out is right next door to the neighbour's house. The neighbours are fine. There's no noise, there's no smell, so the restaurant's able to function and operate. And The Kiln. They've actually just been voted the UK's #1 restaurant for 2018. Wow. So it's a very strange restaurant because it's all like Thai street food, and the cooking's done on open fires on big like barbecues and that kind of thing. So it's not your average kind of there's chip fries, that kind of thing. It's a huge amount of smoke and that kind of thing. So, but it's a massively successful restaurant. It's gone from sort of opening within a 2-year period to be voted the UK's #1 restaurant. So.
It's impressive, and that's all partly due to, I guess, your work and what you've done behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of the work that we do, and we still now the maintenance company now goes out and looks after that to make sure the system's still running. And again, it's a case of if they get any breakdowns, then they can't cook. If our system's not working, they can't do any cooking at all. So obviously, if they can't cook, they've got no customers in the place. So.
No, absolutely. Okay, so now we'd like to hear a bit more about your business journey so far. What does success mean to you, Robert?
Oh, that's a funny one, isn't it? Because success is so personal to each individual. But I think to me, I mean, a lot of people look at me and say, you're really successful. You know, we've got business running, multi-million pound turnover, that kind of thing. We've got a sort of a lot of property and that kind of stuff as well. Houses out in Spain and things like that. But to me, I still don't consider myself massively successful. But I think to me, success is more a case of being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it without being completely and utterly tied to the business. I mean, I'm fortunate that in Nationwide, we employ 18 people now. So if I don't go into the office for a day, the place doesn't suddenly fall apart, or the invoicing doesn't get done, or the work doesn't get done. So to me, it means that freedom that if I want to, I can have a day out of the office, a day out of the business, or even a couple of weeks out of the business when we go off to holiday, and know that the business still carries on running, the bills are being paid and that kind of thing. So that to me is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah, and then if you to take that to the next level, would you say when you can remove yourself completely, you're more successful?
Probably, but the problem was we tried that a few years back when I was probably around about, when I was turned around about 40, both me and John, the business partner, we said, right, what we'll do is we'll get a manager in, let the manager run the place, and you know, once we've done that, then we're free to do whatever we want with, which was great to start with, but after 3 weeks of sitting in your pants in the front room on the couch watching reruns of Jeremy Kyle, the wife's had enough. She's like, right, you've got to get out. You've got to get out and do something. You're really sort of doing my head in. So it was like a case of, well, so we end up, in the end, after a few weeks of doing it, we ended up coming back into the business because although it was nice to step out and have that complete amount of freedom, it was almost a case that there was too much freedom, and it was trying to find something to do because I've still got younger children that are whether age 15, 16. We've still got them, so we couldn't just, I mean, because we've always said once we get to a point, we'll retire and move out and live in our house in Spain, and you know that'll be it. But the kids are still of an age where they're going to school, so we can't actually do that yet. So it was nice. It was a nice little experiment at the time, but you know, it just didn't work for us. So we ended up coming back into the business, carry on pushing it and running it. So.
Yeah. Do you think you'll ever try that again, or do something different and try and move your time around, or you'll always like to be a key cog, if you like?
I'm not necessarily a key cog. Probably if you ask the people in here, I'll probably cause more mayhem than I do anything else when I turn up, because I tend to tinker with things and play with things and start pissing people off because they're like, right, can you stop interfering and just go away and leave us to run it and do this? So much as I kid myself that I'm in here and running things, I'm probably only causing more problems than actually solving. So, but no, I don't know. I mean, I like the business. We love doing what we do. You know, I love the work. We travel, like I say, we travel all across the country. So it's nice. And like I say, we've got nice people, we've got nice customers and that kind of thing. So it's nice to be involved in it. But I think ultimately down the line, obviously there will hit a point where if somebody makes us the right offer for the group, then we'll say, right, yeah, well, we can't really refuse. So, and then it'll probably be a case of, well, set something else up and get started again and do something else. So,
yeah. So, I mean, for I know a lot of people, entrepreneurs particularly, really enjoy kind of getting it started and get it kind of off the ground, but then get more bored on the day-to-day running of a business. Yeah. But from what you said, that's kind of you like the everyday stuff as well.
The everyday stuff. It's nice to keep your hands in and doing the everyday stuff. I mean, I know what people say because obviously it's like as all entrepreneurs are. We're great starters, but we're absolutely crap when it comes to running things down the line. And this is really why we've brought other people in the business. I mean, we've got a full team. We've got management accountants, we've got designers, we've got salesmen. There's 3 sales guys now out running around doing it. But yeah, I do still like to try and keep the hand in and do it. So I probably kid myself a little bit more, as in that I'm still doing it as good as I should be doing it or could be doing it. But you know, it's what we do, and we still, like I say, we still enjoy doing some of the day-to-day stuff. Some of it becomes a bit of a bind, and that's when you employ somebody else to do it for you. But then it's what you can carry on doing that you still enjoy doing. Like I say, I mean, I still turn up at the office 5 days a week, and you know, I'm here most of the time, unless I'm out on site surveys or anything like that. So.
Okay. I mean, I know that you're a big fan of Rob Moore. I think Tim Ferriss as well, and they both said certainly in Rob's interview with me that one of the main things he needed to do was remove himself from that and to be doing other stuff because he was just in the way, and he was the biggest bottleneck of the business.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you think that that's partly for you, or do you think that it's yeah?
It could be partly true. Yes, I certainly wouldn't discount it because there, like I say, there are certain things where I go in the sales guys and I start chasing them on stuff, and I think they've already done it. It's already been done. You think, oh, am I just wasting my time or wasting their time? So I think part of the setting up the humble entrepreneur is to go part and parcel with that. To try and give me something else to do and free a bit of that time to leave the guys in the office doing the jobs that they're supposed to be doing. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're paying them to do. So,
yeah. I know there has been lots of different definitions on entrepreneur. What do you think it means for you?
Well, it's a funny one because my big issue with entrepreneurs. You've got these programs like the Dragon's Den where you get people turn up, they've got a handful of Vistaprint business card, a daft idea that's been validated by their family, fools and friends, and, you know, a stupid valuation on the business of like £750,000, and then they're suddenly, right, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. Well, to me, I like to see my entrepreneurs with a few more battle scars than that. You know, not someone that's just fresh out of university. I'm not saying they're not there, because like I said, Ben, who runs Gymshark, obviously that's where he is. But then you've got the likes of people like Rob Moore. Now, Rob Moore, to me, lovely bloke. I mean, we were out on the boxing show that we were talking about earlier. He's the one that got me invited to it. But he's more the kind of entrepreneur that I think of, you know, the larger scale, multiple businesses, multi-million-pound turnover, that kind of thing. Not just one little business, one idea, you know, and they've sort of got to the stage where they can actually walk out of business and they can go off like Rob does. He goes all around the country, interviewing people and doing his podcast, that kind of thing. So to me, an entrepreneur is somebody that's good. Yes, they've set up businesses, they've taken the risk, and they're still taking the risk now, but they've had a few more battle scars. They've got a bit of history behind them as well, shall we say.
Yeah. No, I would completely agree with that. Very good. So what advice would you give yourself starting out, Robert?
Oof, there's a number of there's a few different ones. I mean, the biggest one for me is never take your eye off the ball. Never take your eye off the ball with the finances, because as soon as you do that, it kind of slips away. And you spend all that time getting everything right, and then you lose the finance, the capital that you've had built up in the business. And the second one to me is, and it's one thing my business partner always says to me, and that's talk's cheap. What I mean by that is people turn around and say, yeah, I'm going to do that, and it never happens. So just don't believe everything that people tell you. You know, if they say something, get them to back it up, get them to actually validate it, rather than just say, yeah, I'm going to do that. Make them quantify when it's going to be done by, you know, how they're going to do it, that kind of thing. So, because there's too many people that just turn around and say, yeah, I'll get that done for you, no problem. And then 2-3 weeks later down the line, you're still chasing that person on the same thing. So.
Yeah, and then certainly I found the same thing time and time again. Everyone says the same. Talk means nothing, and yet your actions say everything.
Yeah, that's entirely right. Yeah, it's all about, like I say, talk's cheap. It's the actions that actually count. The actual then going off and doing it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we've got a couple more people watching now, so if anyone does have any questions coming up, we are coming to the end of our scripted questions now. So if there is anyone else out there that has got questions for Robert, either about the humble entrepreneur or the ventilation stuff, or even his time in business, he'll be sharing his top tips in just a moment. So we'll come to that in just a second. So Robert, what is the biggest mistake you've ever made in business?
Taking the eye off the ball.
Yeah, okay.
When I say that, taking the eye off the ball, what we had in it's quite a long story, but I'll condense it right down because I know we're coming towards the end. Basically, the long and short of it was, at the time, we had a really trusted employee working for us. It's actually our in-house accountant, and it turned out, we ended up finding out that he actually fleeced the company for about 15-20 grand's worth of money that he shouldn't have had out. And it all turns out that was to, believe it or not, that turned out to actually fund his stamp collection. That's what he had the money out from. And the thing was, although we'd taken our eye off the ball with him because we thought he was such a good, trusted and valuable employee. So it's really just that kind of, you know, whilst yes, now you do still have trusted, valued employees, just, you know, making sure we are quantifying what they're doing is actually right, rather than just leading them to it.
So would you ever employ anyone again who had a stamp collection?
Probably not. I'd be a little bit wary. I'd certainly get a few references, because I mean the guy was fantastic. I mean, like I say, he did everything. I mean, he was an avid church goer, and believe it or not, he actually did the books for the local church as well. So, you know, it was all of it. I mean, in the end, we did actually manage to get a lot of the money back. So it wasn't too bad, but yeah, it was a little bit of a scary moment at the time. So.
And what would you say was the biggest challenge you've had to face so far?
The biggest challenge is probably, because we're quite seasonal in the work we do, it's come summertime. So what happens is, summertime, the August period, all the schools shut, and everybody then wants, they all want their schools doing. So we can go from doing maybe a school a month, a couple of schools a month, to, I mean, when we had our big peak of schools was when Jamie Oliver, God bless him, turned around and got it all sorted for everyone to get free school dinners and that kind of thing. So the schools were all going crazy. And that year, in that August, we had, I think it was 24 schools we had to turn around in a 4-week period. So it's just trying to pull it all together. And you've gone from sort of turning over a small amount to a massive amount, and then it's trying to fund that, because obviously you've got increased cost materials, you've got increased cost in labour, and it's even just trying to find the labour, because you know that after the summer period ends, then it's a case of, well, the work's going to drop back down to a sensible level, so that we can, it was just trying to find the right subcontract labour to fulfil the needs of all the projects without actually sort of falling over and losing the ball and dropping any of the projects. So.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got another question that was on my screen. Now my laptop's turned off as well, so another thing broken. I'm pretty sure the next question on my well-organised list was, can you give us your top 3 tips of sales, which is what we mentioned at the beginning. You've been in business 15 years?
Yeah, somewhere around that period. So.
Yeah, so a lot of experience, a lot of sales, and no doubt having to deal with a lot of maybe rejection and objections during the sales cycle. So what maybe be your top 3 tips on sales?
Right, top 3 tips. The first one I'd always say is the best time to chase and look for sales is when you've got sales. I know it sounds a bit counter, but trust me, when you've got a full order book, it's like we do, what happens is you have a full order book, say come in August, you've got loads of sales, and then you're so busy fulfilling those sales that you're forgetting to look down the line to the next month. So September, you go from invoicing 300 grand, say in August, to Christ, we've got nothing for September. So it's when you are busy, that's the time to go and do it. It's a bit like when they turn around and say, when the best time to go networking is when you don't need the work. So it's exactly the same kind of thing. So go out and look for the sales and keep that pipeline of work going while you are still fully busy. So because the problem is you get to a point where you're chasing sales and then you start doing silly things like, oh right, I'll do that, and you're virtually doing stuff at cost just to make sure you've got a few sales through the door to cover the bases, to make sure the guys are happy. So it's really just making sure when you are fully busy, then still carry on chasing the work. Don't just take your eye off the ball and follow up and make sure that you get all those leads and convert it, so that you've got them for the future months down the line. So.
Yeah, fantastic advice. No, I couldn't agree more. I know most entrepreneurs, myself especially, go from feasting, having loads and loads of business, then you're not doing any marketing or anything at all. Then you suddenly have no business at all, and then it goes up and down, up and down. That's all. My entire model is just like this. Yep. Exactly what you said there.
Yeah.
It's feast and famine approach. So
yeah.
Couldn't agree with you more on that one.
Yeah.
Tip number 2, please, Robert.
Tip number 2 would be make sure you're fishing in the right pool. Sounds daft, but you get so many people. I mean, it'd be like me. If I walked into, say, a 4 networking meeting, now I've been in 4 networking, in and out, dropping in and out for a while, but for me to try and walk into a 4 networking meeting and say to you, right, I've got a ventilation system, I can build it, completely bespoke, off the ground, would you like to buy it? It's going to cost you 27 to 30 grand. They're going to go, you're just trying to sell it in totally the wrong place. So. And I get so many people contact me through forums about sales and stuff like that. And I say to them, look, make sure you are actually trying to sell your product in the right place. Because there's so many people that just think, right, I'll just go in here and sell it. Everyone will want to buy it. They don't, because 4N, for example, is a slightly smaller micro businesses. So they haven't got the kind of budgets that the larger businesses have. So it's making sure you're pitching your product to the right people at the right time. So, like I say, it's sort of that whole fishing in the right pool.
Absolutely, and I'm curious where you would, where you might pitch your business then for yourself.
Our business is slightly more. A lot of what we do is actually it's more business to business. What we do, we work for a lot of catering firms, and we don't deal that often with the end user direct. But a lot of the work from that would be generated from things like the restaurant show, which is in October. Places like that, trade shows, that's where if we was pitching for any customers, that's where we'd go to find the work. So.
Right, sounds good. Tip number 3 then, please, Robert.
Yeah, nice, short, little, simple one, and that's ask for the sale, ask for that order. So many people do all the hard work, they turn around, they get it all to the point of doing it, the person's ready, they're sat there ready to rock and roll and buy it, and it's like, right, we're off, we're going to move on to the next customer. Actually stop, stand there and say, right, we've done everything, agreed it's all good, can I have the order? So many people are so frightened of actually asking for that order. They've done all the hard work, like I say, they've done all the pitching, they've done the proposals, but they're actually frightened to actually say, right, we're now there, can I actually have an order? Can we confirm this, please?
Any tips asking that in another way, maybe, or just ask? Just shut up and do it.
No, it's simple. I mean, you're there in front of somebody and they know you're trying to sell to them. So, I mean, nobody really likes being sold to, but, you know, you just got to keep it nice, friendly. You know, the easiest way to get somebody to agree with you is to get them on your side. Just keep smiling with them, keep laughing, joking, that kind of thing. And then just say to them, look, we are now, you know, we're at the point where we've done this. Have you got any other objections, or is there anything else that we can clarify for you? If not, we're at the point now where we need to move forward. So can we place the orders? Can we move forwards?
Yeah. Great. Sounds good. Thank you for sharing those tips with us.
No worries.
So that is all the questions on what we've covered so far. Is there anything else you want to kind of delve into with either your other businesses, or you think we haven't covered off in any other questions there?
No, I think we're pretty good. I think we've covered enough to keep people interested for a while. So.
Good stuff. I will check the comments now. I'm able to see them on my phone, see if we have got any other questions in the meantime. Did you see, I know you've shared the post a couple of times before we went live as well, so I don't know if you saw any questions from anyone else?
I didn't, because I've literally I've run from one other place to coming back here to do it, so I've not had time. I was barely managed to get my breath back before we went live, so.
Okay. Yeah, and you know that I've obviously had all sorts of struggles from this side, so I may have missed them as well.
A few tech issues.
Yeah, if there is any other questions, I'll post them on this video, or I'm sure if you can message Robert directly, either on his link on this post, or to one of his pages, which we'll get him to put the links to underneath as well. Okay, so that is fantastic. So there doesn't seem to be any other questions I can see at the moment. I'll wrap it up there. But thank you to Robert Terry again for joining me on this edition of Quiz Your Biz. Tune in next time, which will be on Wednesday, where we're not sure who's going to be interviewing who at the moment. We're still very much up in the air, and the schedule needs to be put together. I know there is a lot of people that have been messaging and saying when are they on, and there aren't dates on many things yet. Both me, myself, Reese, and Rachel have all been juggling lots of other stuff. So it is coming. There will be a new schedule soon, and hopefully we'll get some more dates in the diary. But no, thanks again, Robert. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for your time, Dan.
I'll speak to you.
All right, have a safe journey on. Cheers. Bye. Bye.
Thanks, Robert. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.